Hello, everybody, and welcome to Athletic Definition. My name is Coach Ray Z. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite places in the world, Sedona, Arizona. I've had the pleasure of going there maybe like 8 times from the first time I went there. There was just something about it, drew me to it, and the first time I seen it on TV, and then when I got there, just the energy, the vibe, the way I feel there, and then the trails. I love hiking. I basically went crazy and I explored as many trails as I could, and I've been GoProing since 2015, recording them, and just basically always too shy, embarrassed for some reason. That typical YouTube mentality. I'll put it out there, put it out there. Never did. I actually ended up putting out one of my videos, maybe like 4. And so if you click on the fortune cookie, you'll actually go to the YouTube. And this is actual virtual tour I did of the Mesa, which is the one we're going to be talking about today. It's called the airport Mesa Vortex, and actually right next to it is the Sedona Airport Loop. Names will get intertwined all the time, so when you go hiking there, that's something you want to keep in mind, and I'll get into it more. And I put this on Instagram a long time ago. It's probably got like, I don't know how many years it's been on there, but maybe under 200 views. And on YouTube, I finally put it out there, and it's got about 200 views already. And YouTube pays you, so definitely, I know Instagram does, but I should have put it out on YouTube a long time ago. It basically took a whole pandemic and life-changing decisions and an opportunity here on Fireside, because I realized the power of releasing a video, whatever you're creating, at the same time a podcast. I've been trying to do that for the last 3-4 weeks, and on whatever thing I want to appear on top of YouTube, so far it's been working. As far as fitness, because the more I can get out there, the more I can spread, hey, let's go out, let's be active. So let's get started a little bit on the Sedona Trail. The first time I went there, this is one of the first trails I went, and there's very limited parking. There's a good side to that and a bad side. When the good side is basically that when you get to the top, you're going to want peace and quiet, especially on the Mesa part. It's one of the better places where you can go and just get a higher perspective. It's really good to go meditate. It's all about the energy. They say it's where you can go and ask questions and you'll get answers. And when I went up there, even though there's limited parking, there's still a lot of people. And I've gone there when it's more colder on purpose, just to avoid the crowds as much as possible. It's something you're going to have to deal with. If you look at that video, there's a few people, but I've gone there. I think I've gone there maybe like at least 4 or 5 times. I always, since it's such a short little hike to the Mesa part, I try to include it on my way when I'm leaving. So on the way when I'm leaving, it's kind of part of like, I'll grab some coffee, and then before I start my drive, I'll see if I could find parking. So far, it's been good every time I get parking. The parking, I don't remember. One website said it's free. The other one, I know that there's a national park part of it, and you can pay like a week pass or 3 days. I usually go there for at least like 4 or 5 days, so I get like the 5-day pass. There's also an additional parking at the airport, which is connected by it. It's a small little airport. Heard it's pretty expensive to fly in there. I don't know anyone who's actually flown into Sedona Airport. It's more like those Zesta or type of planes. I forget what they're called. If you park, you have one option depending which way you're facing. But basically, if you go to the right, you can go to a loop that's, depending on the website, 3.2 to 3.3 miles. And I did that one. I haven't released the video. I have to edit that one. And if you go to the left, you're going to go to the Mesa, the top of the Vortex, which is the one if you click. Or if you just want to go to Coach Ray Z on YouTube, then you can actually check out the video. It's called Airport Mesa Vortex Virtual Tour. And after that, to the left of that, there's another little trail, which I really don't know where it goes. I have not had the chance to explore. The Mesa one, I think it takes me maybe like 20 to I'll say 30 minutes. So let's say if you're in not really good shape, I would say maybe it will take you an hour. I think that pretty much anybody could do it. I had the opportunity to take my mom and my son last year with the help of my son. My mom was able to make it up there. You know, you don't have to rush up there. There's like chains along the way that help you kind of anchor yourself and pull yourself up. And then when you get to the top, it's a 360 panoramic view of all of Sedona. So you can pretty much see all the major rocks, which they all have names: Bell Rock, Cathedral Rock, Bell Rock, Court Rock, or Courthouse, uh, Teapot. That you can see all of it from the city angle, just to pretty much the scenic angle, all the way around. It could get pretty windy up there, and Sedona, if depending on when you go, I usually go in February, late January, early February, and also April. That time of year, it's usually pretty cold, and it could be pretty windy up there as well. Every time people go up there, they want to see the sunset. They always ask, "What's the best time to see the sunset?" One of the well-known tour guides out there, he goes by the name of Mr. Sedona, and he says it's always best to look at actual mountains so you can see the reflection and the different colors, and not actually look at the sun setting. That you'll see more of like the glow, which is what Sedona is known for. If you've never gone to Sedona, or if you've gone to Sedona and only looked at the sunset, that's something you can try and check out the difference of looking at the sunset based off the rocks instead of just looking at the sunset. And I would say pretty much anywhere in Sedona, it's a great place to look at the sun setting or sun rising. And also because they have a no light pollution ordinance where basically there's really no lights anywhere except on the like the one main street, which I believe is Route 89A. I could be wrong about that, but it's really one main street. And besides that, there's really no lights at night. The stars are amazing. They're beautiful. You can see them. Even though it was cold, I would just go outside late at night, for a little while, look at the stars, and then go back in, warm up, go back out there. It's so amazing and different. Me being from Los Angeles, California, San Gabriel Valley, I could just tell the difference between looking at the stars out here, just walking outside, and then doing it in Sedona. If you go to the right, same shared parking lot. I think there might be one more, but really they're not really big parking lots. And as I mentioned, I think that's a good thing because you really want to enjoy it, and it's difficult when it's a large crowd. So there's benefits and drawbacks. But the trail is about 3.2, and overall, it's a nice trail. You're going to see and hear people's dogs in certain parts because it's kind of like their backyard. And I liked it. Certain places I felt little subtle energies. I recommend that if you feel something like that, or you're really feeling connected to a certain location, stay there for a little bit, meditate on something and then move on. It's difficult with how many people you go hiking, or at that time I went with one other person, so we kind of knew the vibe, and it was a good time. I enjoyed it. It's considered a moderate trail. I think you gain about 300 plus elevation from 319 maybe to 391. It is very rocky. I recommend good trail shoes or good hiking shoes. I did not trail run it, but while I was hiking it, I did see people actual trail run it, probably locals around there. Most people just seem to go to the Mesa part. They don't do the whole trail. If you park in the airport part and you walk it, that's going to add about maybe a mile point four additionally. And I know you pay for the parking there, but sometimes when there's no parking on the bottom, there's only really one way to park. You can go to the airport, which I said I've never had to do. And then from there, there's that trail entrance, and it'll add about, like I said, an additional mile. But really overall, if you're just trying to get to the Mesa, which is not difficult, it is a couple parts might be a little bit tough. It's not like a trail completely. You are going to walk a little bit, but it's definitely worth it. I would say it's one of the easier trails to do. There's way more that I'll be showing. West Fork Trail, I would say, is one of the easier trails to do as far as accessing. You don't really at any point have to get on like your hands and knees, like maybe Cathedral Rock. And I'm trying to remember if for the Mesa, some points you might have to just hang on a little bit, but it's not like you're going to fall off. There's no edge or anything. It's just to walk better because it's so steep, basically. But the West Fork Trail, around pretty much any magazine you open up and you look for or go to any search engine and type in the most beautiful trails in the United States, it's in the top 10 in pretty much any website magazine. I had the chance to go there twice. I got to go there in February and April. February there's snow, and then in April there wasn't. Beautiful trail. The deeper you go in, the more beautiful it gets. It's like an oasis. It shouldn't be there. I'll be doing a future show on that. Just from the red rocks, the water flowing, the snow on the ground, while there's sand, like sand from the beach. It is. And also keep in mind that these videos that I did at the time I did them, I did no color grading. I know everybody does that, so they might. The GoPro, even though it's a really good camera, it doesn't do it justice. The beauty, this is something you have to go experience for yourself. Sedona, overall, I go there every year. I will be going there in 2023. Hard to believe already, 2023. And I'm thinking of maybe doing some sort of tour on a package for one of the trails. I go there every year to do the half marathon. It used to be a marathon, and I've been doing it for, I think, the last 5 years now. And I loved it so much. I found out about a city next to it called Cottonwood, and I went and did that marathon just so I could go back to Sedona. And then when I went to go explore the Grand Canyon, I stayed at least one day in Sedona. I love it. I've even considered moving. It's pretty expensive, but it's just as expensive as, I would say, Los Angeles now. But since there's over 100 trails there, even if I go there 2-3 times a year and I spend like 3 or 4 days, and when I say hiking, I mean I'm out there like the whole day from the sun rising to the sun setting, and that's the day after I did a half marathon, or after the half marathon, or when it was a marathon. I would just take the opportunity to hike as much as I could and explore. And if I felt something that I liked, I would go there as much as possible. Like Cathedral Rock is probably my favorite of them all, and I'll got plenty of video of that. I'm going to talk a little bit about vortexes, because part of the name of the trail is called Airport Mesa Vortex. And Vortex, at least the way they kind of refer it to, and I guess it depends on how you talk to, but I've also bought different books there, and some people will describe it as a like upflow energy or positive energy or negative energy, different types of energies. Some people say it's masculine, it's feminine. And really, it's going to be different for everybody. And if you go there and you don't feel nothing, don't feel bad. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or anything like that. It's very subtle energy. It seems that more women seem to be more sensitive to this type of energy. Some people will cry just without being able to stop. And it's just being in Sedona. It's not any particular trail. Or the reason why, from what I heard, it's called the Vortex is some people have, when it first started, went to these certain locations and they really felt something resonated with them. And because they are so beautiful, they got that name Vortex. But there's really hundreds of vortexes from my understanding, from what I've looked into. And I just exploring the trails led me to the major vortexes in Sedona. So I visited all four. And then from there, it led me to authors who wrote more about it. And I realized about the Native Americans that live there and their history, and how they consider that sacred, and how they consider, right now the god's name slipped my mind, but they live in Sedona for half of the year, and then they go a little bit north to the San Francisco Peaks. That's what they're called. And they're not in San Francisco, but they're called the San Francisco Peaks. And they're mountains, Flagstaff. It's Flagstaff, Arizona. And so they believe that the gods live there for half of the year, and then the other half they go to Sedona. I had the chance to go to Flagstaff as well. It's beautiful. I tried to climb those mountains. They're supposed to be very beautiful as well. When I went, I completely underestimated how much snow there is at that time of year. And I didn't want to be one of those people lost on the news. So I knew that I wasn't prepared enough. I didn't take the right gear. Why take a chance? Why be on the news? I have kids. I need to come back. So I didn't even attempt to hike it. I knew better, and I just moved on to the Grand Canyon. But I definitely want to go back there and definitely share that experience with you. So if you get the chance to go Sedona, I will be there in February 2023. They don't pay me or anything like that. The race doesn't sponsor me, but it's just such a beautiful, there's a 5K, a 10K, or just if you just want to relax. Everyone's different there. I live in California, which everyone's pretty open minded, but some people will still think some things are considered woo woo. Over there, you could pretty much talk to anybody about energies or crystals, anything like that, and they're not going to look at you as you're crazy. They're more open minded. It's a small community, maybe 10,000 people, beautiful homes. I like to Airbnb a lot there, and every time I do, the people's backyards that I've gotten lead you to little access trails that you would normally not have as a regular person hiking. So to me, that's something that when you do Airbnb, I just was looking at the comments here. Chris is in San Francisco. Yes, thank you for joining, Chris. I I only had the chance to go there once, and I just remember, and I think I know it's one of the most expensive cities in all of the United States, really. But it seems like everyone's trying to compete right now with these inflations. So that is a one thing you can do as well too. Thinking about vacation and taking the kids somewhere. And I know things could be expensive right now, but going hiking is less expensive. It's in my opinion, you can pack your lunches, make a day of it, come back. I would from the Airbnbs barbecue or just make food there. And to me, you save money that way. And I, I'll show you some videos eventually too of beautiful axes that I got through someone's backyard to a view from Cathedral Rock. And I've always seen this view in pictures, and I always wonder where it was. But through this person's backyard, it was just like easy. I just walked a little bit to the right and it was right there. Way more Sedona videos and footage that I'll show you. And if anyone has any questions about Sedona, best place to visit, I've gone to they call it the downtown, which is basically it's pretty small, but the downtown, that's where the little shopping, you can get the pink Jeep tours, a couple of bars there, a couple of Mexican restaurants, some, yeah, pretty much shopping. And then on the main street, that's pretty much where all the hotels are at. Pretty much everything from there, Whole Foods, and then you just have the city, and it's beautiful, like I said, because at nighttime, no light. Pretty much everyone there is nice, so I really enjoy it out there, and I hope you enjoyed the video. You can, if you just joined, you can click on the video and that'll give you a virtual tour of the Sedona Airport Mesa Vortex. I'll be editing the airport loop. I don't know if I recorded the whole thing on that one. The next one that I will be doing on Sedona, and I think I might have released it because as I mentioned, I actually edited a few of these, but the rest I'm working on so I can jump ahead of time. But let me check right here. I think this is the last one that I have scheduled as far as Sedona, but I made a whole series. Fireside has this new option on here where you can make a series, which is pretty cool because I have a couple series. I have the Athletic Definition latest sports and fitness news, which I'll be actually doing a show a little bit later today on that. The next one that I'll be doing on Sedona will be next Saturday on July 2nd at 1 p.m. And that's going to be on Cathedral Rock. As I mentioned, it's one of my favorite hikes. It's easy and difficult at the same time. And one time I went there and it was going to rain, and I knew it was going to rain, but I went there. I knew a little bit before sun setting, and there was like a couple people up there, but because it was cold and it was supposed to rain, they left. And I don't think you can really go up there and ever have the place to yourself. So I had the top of Cathedral Rock, and I have it on GoPro to myself, and I really enjoyed it. I was a little bit like, oh, I need to hurry up and get down, but at the same time, I really just enjoyed that peace and quiet, because every time I've gone up there, there's someone up there, but it is just such an amazing place. And we'll get more into the energies. I have a couple of books I bought over there. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that. So join me for the Cathedral Rock, and that way, if you ever have a chance to go to Sedona, you know which ones to go. I have Bell Rock, I have Boyton, which is basically those are the major vortexes that people talk about. But then I also have other less known ones that I've had the chance to explore that I'll be bringing to you as well, like Slim Shady. That's a Slim Shady trail, and it's not by Eminem. And there's also Sliding Rock, and there's a couple Sliding Rocks in Sedona. So there's Slide Rock and Sliding Rock. Slide Rock is different from Sliding Rock, which is the one where you see a bunch of people always jump in and kind of go diving and swimming. There's Soldier's Pass. Then you can go inside the cave of the pass as well, and you can go from the top as well, which I've done all perspectives, and I'll be showing you as that. For that one, actually, for the first time, I got a GoPro Max, which now I can shoot 360, and I tried it inside the cave. I've never tried the camera before, so we'll see how that looks. So hopefully, when I edit that one, you'll be able to actually kind of look around the whole cave. It's a whole different perspective. It was kind of scary. I really stayed against the edge, even though there was people there younger just jumping around like little animals, just like nothing, like going to the top, just being young and not afraid of anything. But oh my god, they actually climbed all the way to the top, and I was just watching them. I was like, I would not do that. I would probably get stuck halfway, even though I'm pretty adventurous. Just with some of the little edges they had to get to the top of Soldier's Pass, you'd be amazed. But yeah, I wouldn't do that at this point. I love exploring, and I want to keep exploring. So I'll be releasing probably later today the second part to Zion. If you didn't catch that, I did Zion National Park, the Narrows last week. I did that one last week. So if you've ever wanted to go to Utah, the Zion National Park, you can see the Narrows. And I did a podcast episode on that. And then I'll show you the perspective with a GoPro, which I would say I did probably more than half of the Narrows. It's a trail where you're basically walking in water the whole time. So it's different than any other trail I've done. So if you want to learn more about the Narrows, that one, the podcast episode is out everywhere, and the YouTube will be out later today. And so also on Fireside later today, as I mentioned, I'll be back with the latest sports and fitness news. Be sure to join me. I can't tell you the time because I got to charge a couple things. And so just be sure to follow me and you'll get the alert. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful and hot Saturday from Los Angeles, California.